gonna do an intro first to it or no?
We are live.
Hey guys, Sean Terry here. Flip to Freedom. What is up is up. We are live. Super excited to be here with you guys on this evening. We've got a ton of stuff we're gonna cover, and we are going to literally blow some people away of what you can do with this, with what we're gonna talk about. So, we've been running all day, man. I got so much stuff going on. It's been crazy. So glad you guys are here. So if you could, before we get started here, can you let me know where you are actually coming in from? There should be a chat box below us. Just give us an idea of where you're coming in from. I'd love to be able to reach out to you guys, say hey from wherever you guys are coming in from. So just type in the chat box below of where you're coming in from would be awesome. I greatly appreciate it. And want to hear. So we got people all across the country, and what's great, it's really cool now. I'm really getting to know the market across the country because we're doing deals all across the country now. So there's these little small towns that I've never even heard of that we're actually getting properties in and selling properties, which is cool. So yeah, so we've got other one here all over. We got some different people in here. Austin, Texas. What else we got? Where else are you guys coming in from? Just type in the chat box below where you guys are coming in from. I'd appreciate it. Cool. We got Clifton, Canada. We got Canada in the house. Now, you can do deals from Canada in the United States. So you'll be learning about that. We'll talk about that. Okay, now it looks like Connecticut, which is cool. Maryland, Mexico. We got Mexico in the house. We got Long Island, New York. I'm from Vermont originally. We got Connecticut in the house. Cool, cool. All over the country, which is cool. All right, so like I said, we got a ton of stuff we're going to cover. So I'm ready to get into it. If you are, Chris. We can get going. And what we're going to do tonight, we're actually going to talk about some different case studies. So I have done trainings, kind of showed my progression and success, but it's great to actually case study some other people that have been in the business and what they have done and how they have applied certain training and material to go out and achieve success. So what we're going to talk about is basically these four individuals right here. And there were about essentially how they had their middle-class lifestyle, they were disgruntled employees, and how they broke the shackles of their JOBs, right? Just over broke their jobs, and literally more than tripled their incomes. They quit their 9-to-5 jobs and they went full-time. And what we're going to talk about is what they found out, what they knew, and their ways they went out and achieved success. So we're going to go through essentially each one of them, which is going to be cool. So Alex is a full-time business owner that required significant amount of cash to run the business with small margins. He found he was working 7 days a week. So if you've been a small business owner, maybe you have running a business, you find that you end up working everything yourself. You're a one-man show. You're doing everything. So you might be in real estate right now and be doing stuff in real estate, but you're finding that you're doing everything yourself. You're the one-man show. What he looked at, he's like, there's got to be a better way to be able to achieve freedom. Christian is a great story. He worked as a fireman, making $43,000 a year as a fireman, and he was looking something for a side hustle. He wanted to be able to have a business. He didn't really know how to get into a business for himself. He wanted to have the freedom to be able to do it. And then, so Christian came and, he saw this and he was like, wow, maybe this is something I could do as a side hustle. And he actually liked being a fireman, but he just didn't like the income of making $43,000 a year. Monica, great story. She basically used free marketing strategies, and same with her. She was just looking for some extra income. So we're going to show you how she went out and made $35,549 in her very first month working in this business, which is cool. Tyler's amazing story. He was actually the guy who went out to people's houses and sold pest control, making $50,000 a year. And he was so dissatisfied. He had quotas he had to meet. He had to go to 60 plus houses. I mean, it's amazing on how much work he had to do in the heat in North Carolina, and he hated it. So when we were actually introduced, he was looking to get out of that. He wanted to quit his job and go full time. So he hated his job, wanted to go full time. Maybe you are in the same situation. Maybe you're in a job you don't like right now. Maybe you have a boss that drives you crazy. Maybe you are in a situation where you don't think you're getting paid what you're worth. Maybe you're in a political situation where there's lots of politics around, and that was his situation. He didn't want to deal with it. So stay on to the end, because what I'm actually going to give you is our most important tool of this entire business. So if you hang on to the end, I'll show you exactly what that is. And I'll give you a special link to actually download it at the end of the training. It's incredibly valuable. This is the most asked for thing out of anything. Any all my Instagram followers, podcast followers, people on YouTube, they want this one thing, and I'm going to give it to you tonight at the end. I'm going to give you a link where you can download it. So a little bit quick about me. I literally had a dead-end job. I was 33 years old. I was in a situation where I was living month to month. I had a dead-end job with no future. I had a boss that I didn't really like. And actually what I was doing is I worked for a pool and landscape company in Phoenix, Arizona, and I would go to people's houses and I would map out their pool in their backyard. So I had to go outside, measure the whole backyard, and I would spend hours and hours and hours drawing pools by hand and landscaping. And then I'd come back with a bid to the homeowner and try to sell them to buy the whole entire package. It took a lot of work to be able to do that. I wasn't the owner, so I was having to go on appointments at all different times, trying to make ends meet, and I got a small commission off every deal that I went and sold. So it was really a dead-end job, and I didn't have a high school education, a college education. I had a high school barely education, but I was in a situation where I couldn't stand the politics. My boss was a jerk. He'd always try to cut me on my commissions. Literally, what he would do is we'd price the pool, we'd price the landscaping, and he'd throw in all this extra stuff and then take all this stuff of the pricing of what the cost would be. And then I thought it was gonna get X amount of commission. I'd end up getting Y amount of commission. And it was so frustrating. And I knew he was screwing me over. I was just scraping by, living month to month. I was 33. I had a brand new daughter at the time, was married. And I just did not like what I was doing. I could not wait till Friday. You know that feeling. Friday, when Friday at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock comes, you get out of the office, you leave. Doesn't that an amazing feeling, right? It's amazing because, we live for Fridays. Well, I did too. We'd have Monday would be the worst day. Wednesday was hump day. Friday was the day where it was so exciting because we actually had freedom for 48 hours over the weekend. And if we were able to have that weekend off and to do anything. But I had no freedom. I didn't have the freedom to go out and do what I wanted to do with who I wanted to do it at any time I wanted to do it. And I saw people that did, not really the friends that I had, but I saw people on shows and had the lifestyle and they had the things that I wanted. I never thought I could achieve it because I didn't have a college education. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18 years old. I traveled the world. So I didn't think I was smart enough to be in business. I didn't think I had what it took. So I just kind of conformed into the job role. And I just happened to work as, learning how to sell pool and landscaping. And that was just, that's how I try to make ends meet. kind of sucks. So what happened was one Saturday afternoon, I had a pool appointment, landscape appointment I was going on, and in Phoenix, if you go up the 101, actually up the I-10, it's called Litchfield Park. I think it's called Litchfield Park or something up there. But up there, up to 10, it's a ways from where I'm sitting right now. It's probably about a 20, 30-minute drive. So I got in the car. It's a Saturday afternoon. I remember I was griping about it because Saturday is supposed to be the weekend, right? You're supposed to get off on Friday and happy for the weekend, but I had appointments because I had to make money to be able to go, pay for the mortgage, pay for all the bills and everything like that. Not mortgage, rent. Had to pay for all the stuff. And I'm sitting there, so I'm going on a Saturday afternoon. I'm driving down the freeway, and what happened is I came across this very unique and profitable concept. I was actually, as I was driving down the freeway, I turned on the radio, and I was listening to the radio where this guy started talking about people that were making money flipping houses in real estate. So what happened is I'm sitting there turning the radio. I'm looking for sports. I'm driving down the freeway. There's nothing on in May of 2003 at the time. And I'm sitting there, and the next thing I know, I flip across the station, and this guy's talking about how you can make money flipping houses like you see on HGTV and all these different things now. Well, we didn't have that back then. But they had this show and this guy on Saturday afternoon radio. And I was sitting there and I was listening to it, and I remember laughing to myself jokingly, and I was like, this is a scam. There is no way. How can this be? This guy is, telling how you can make, and he had people on the show that were making $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000. Average people that are making huge checks, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 checks, and they have no cash invested or funding. They had no credit checks whatsoever, and they had no experience. Now, I remember I was listening to that, and I'm thinking to myself, that's impossible. There is no way that can happen. Because I had a preconceived notion that in real estate, you have to have cash for a down payment to purchase a house, and you had to have credit to qualify for a loan. Like if you see these shows on HDTV and all these things, they are using cash to buy the house or a loan, whatever it is, and they have to have the cash to renovate the property and fix it up and turn around and sell it. This was something different. This was the unique and profitable concept that I never heard before, although it's been around. So I'm sitting there and I was incredibly skeptical. Now, I don't know about you. I'm originally from New England, and I grew up in a family where my dad was essentially a devil's advocate, right? And he can look at any situation and he's sitting there looking and he could find something wrong with anything. Have you ever met anybody like that? Well, that's the kind of environment I grew up in. So immediately when this guy was talking about people making checks with no cash, what did I say? It's too good to be true. That's a scam. That can't happen. I was completely skeptical, and literally I almost laughed to myself. I said, who's going to believe this? What a joke. There's actually people gonna listen to this garbage and someone's gonna believe this? What a joke. Now, it's interesting because at the time, I was living month to month. At the time, I was broke. At the time, I was had no freedom, had nothing. I was a mess. So where was I to be judgmental and skeptical? I mean, I should have been open-minded and said, wow, it could have been a possibility, could be something, and tried to look at the positive, but I was so scared. And probably that's why I was at where I was at. So, and I might be talking to you, and you might be the person that's very similar. You might be that same type of person that's skeptical about everything, and look at it, and you might go, oh, this is, too good to be true, whatever. And we haven't even got started yet. But I encourage you not to be like me. I had to change. I had to modify. And I think what happened next, I thought, they have cash or credit to get involved in this business, but I know for a fact the next thing that happened, it was God's intervention. Because as I was driving down the freeway, I turned the channel and stopped listening to what this guy had to say. And so I stopped. I blocked it out. I was like, this is a joke. It's a scam. It's too good to be true. Who would listen to this? And I turned the channel. I continued to drive down the freeway, kind of laughing under my breath. And I look right now, and I can tell you, I thank God every single day that I happened to turn the channel back and listen to the rest of the story. I took my judgmental, skeptical thoughts, and I just listened. And I know today it was God's intervention. And I don't know what made me turn back that channel. I don't know if it was intuition. I don't know if it was gut. I don't know what it was, but I was driving down the freeway. Maybe it was nothing to listen to. And as I'm driving down, I was like, you know what? Life sucks. What am I? And I turned it back. And I thank God every single day that actually happened. If it didn't, I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even be here. But I actually turned the radio station back. I continued to listen to what this guy had to say, and he explained a unique concept that I never heard before. And what's interesting, if you've never heard something before and someone actually explains it to you, you go, wow, this is amazing, right? It's amazing that can happen. Now, I'm gonna go get something real quick here and I'll show you. But, if I turn around and take this right here, so what happens is what he showed me is this. He goes, this is a real estate purchase contract. It's a purchase contract, right? And with this purchase contract, you have the ability to sign a contract with somebody, and this gives you an incredibly important thing. It gives you equitable interest, and it gives you, because a seller can only sell to one person, it gives you controlling interest. So the contract, having a contract, is the holy grail. I mean, getting a signed contract with a seller is the holy grail. Now, this could happen on commercial buildings. This could happen on residential real estate. It could happen in anything. But the bottom line is, if you ever heard people say in real estate, you make money when you buy, not when you sell. And it's funny because I never really understood what that meant. It meant that with real estate, if you have a $100,000 house and you contract it for, say, $50,000, there could be potentially $50,000 of built-in equity. Now, you can't do that in the stock market. The stock market, even though it's up and down and crazy right now, right? In the stock market, you can't do that. You can't take Apple and buy Apple that's $380 or whatever and buy it for $100. You can't do that. It's illegal, right? Unless you have an option. There's a strike price at $100. Then you exercise that option. I don't know. The bottom line is you can't do it. With real estate, you can. So what he explained in this radio is like, listen, what these people are doing is they're getting a property under contract. Let's say it's a $100,000 property and you have a seller that they just want to get rid of the property. Maybe there's a tenant in place that trashed it. Maybe they inherited the property. Maybe it's a code violation. Maybe it's a pre-foreclosure and the bank's trying to take the property back. Maybe they haven't paid their property taxes. Maybe it's a divorce situation. Maybe they just want to divest and sell their properties, but they don't want to fix up the properties. Whatever the case may be, there are millions, if not millions, of sellers in situations where they want to sell their properties at a potential discount, right? So what happens is we can sign a contract. Let's say it's $100,000. We sign a contract for $50,000. Now, once we sign that contract, that is the most important thing. The seller can't sell it to anybody else, and that is of value. We have controlling interest. Now, on this contract right here, we have a purchase price, right? Let's call it $50,000. And we have a closing date, and typically it's 30 days. And also what we have on there is what's called an out clause. An out clause lets us be able to get out of the contract, no harm, no foul, over a certain period of time, and that is typically what's called an inspection period. You have an inspection period time frame you can get out of the contract. Now, that's inspection period, we typically do 30-day inspection period on these properties. So 30-day inspection period, now what I can do is in this time, I can find a buyer within that time to buy my piece of paper. Buy my piece of paper. So what he was explaining in this unique concept is people, right, these people are signing a contract with a seller that wants to get rid of their property, and they're finding a buyer, and they're selling that contract to that buyer. It's called an assignment, or you can do what's called a double escrow, and they're selling their contract to a buyer for a price, right? So let me show the screen here. You got an example. You got two contracts. Let's say you have a contract of a buyer who buys that contract for $10,000, $60,000. That's called an assignment. You sell your contract for $60,000. You know what the great thing here is too? What the amazing thing is in the middle there you see a building. That's called a title company, a closing agent or attorney. They will handle all the paperwork. They will handle all the money. So you literally, all you have to do is bring these two contracts right here, bring them back over to the closing agent, the attorney, bring it to them and say, listen, we want to sell our contract. We're going to sell our contract for say $10,000, and they will facilitate the entire closing. They'll call the seller, they'll get all the information, they'll call the buyer, they'll handle the whole thing. Now, my first deal, I made $11,008 on my first deal in 2003, 3 weeks after I learned this. I learned it. I went out and I found a seller that wanted to sell his house. I didn't really know much about real estate. Never really bought a house before, didn't know anything about it, but guess what? He wanted to sell. I got the property under contract, and I turned around and I found a buyer all within 3 weeks after learning this concept from the guy on the radio. So what happens is, guess what? The difference goes to you. That difference goes to you. You have a contract with a seller. You sell the contract for a buyer for $60,000. Why is he excited? Why is he going to do it? Because it's a potentially $100,000 house he's getting for 60 grand. He gets 40,000 in instant equity, and then turn around, the seller gets $50,000 for his signed contract. You get the difference. It's arbitrage. You're arbitraging those contracts, right? You're arbitraging. Now, this happens in, all types of business, right? Happens in people arbitrage cars. They get cars, they buy them at the auction, they clean them up a little bit, and they turn around and flip them. Or they, here what's great about it, you don't have to clean up the property. You don't have to close on it. You don't have to have your credit check pulled. You don't have to do all that stuff. Now, here's the thing. This is not a new idea. It's been around forever. Real estate, these type of transactions have been around forever. But where an average person can learn how to do this as a business and learn how to turn a conceptual idea into where you can actually generate revenue is amazing. Now, we're gonna show you how these 4 individuals took this concept of having a couple contracts, finding the right sellers, knowing who you're gonna talk to, and turning that into, some people just a side hustle where they wanted to make some extra money. And some people turned it into millions of dollars where they turned it into a huge business, and it literally changed their life and their financial future for their family. So here's the thing. There's a lot of questions that come. People like, since it is not a new concept, like, oh my gosh, well, what happens? Well, you've got bandit signs, you've got contracts and negotiated marketing for sellers. So you might have learned about real estate before, maybe watched some videos or had some interest in it. And what happens? There's a lot of different things. You got earnest money deposit and finding buyers. How do you do it? Email list. What's that? Software. Which one works? Lease options, coaching, website, short sales, realtors, REOs, opening escrow. So there's a lot of what do I do and how do I do it? So there's a couple different people. There's people watching right now that don't know anything about real estate, And now they're going, holy cow, wow, this could be an incredible concept. And wait till I show you what these 4 people have done to achieve such amazing success, number 1. Number 2, is for people that have been watching, that have been in real estate right now, but they really haven't had success. They haven't stepped out. They haven't taken action yet. They haven't got their first deal. There becomes a lot of questions about negotiating and talking to sellers and finding buyers and software. Then there's people that already have experience, and you want to take it to the next level, and you want to blow it up, which it's all here, which is amazing. So what happens was I was searching for the right answer. After I learned this concept, I started searching and tried to search for information. Well, I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have ebooks and stuff like that. There were seminars. I think there were blogs out there, but I didn't know about them. There weren't really any podcasts out there. But what happens is you start searching for right answers, and we have all this different information coming from all different sources. We have local investors that, you know what, you don't know if they're going to give you the correct information that you can become successful, because maybe they don't want to compete against you. There's webinars or trainings just like this. There's home study course. You buy a home study course and you learn that. But is it the right thing to do? Ebooks. You've got YouTube. YouTube is an incredible, but you have 100 different business models to be able to follow, 100 different ways to do it, and everybody has their own twist on doing something. You have REI clubs, you got seminars, you got gurus, you got bigger pockets, you got emails, blogs, all this information, and the question is, how do you compile it into something actually that works and is proven that you can work for you? And that's what happened for me, but I didn't have all this, thank God. I got this guy's course. I learned that. Thank God it worked. And I read books. I went to the bookstore and I tried to find everything I could on real estate, but still that confused me just with books in his course. I can't even imagine now what you're going through with all the stuff that's out there. So as soon as that happened, fear started to come in, because I felt like I didn't know what I didn't know, and it was getting into something new, and I was fear. I was like, what if I screw up? What if I sign a contract and I can't perform? Right? What if I have what if I can't find a buyer for the property in that time frame and I have to cancel? What happens? What if I say something wrong? What if I say something I don't know? What if I get sued by someone during the process? You know, what are all these acronyms, and people talk about EMD and, you know, and ARV and max allowable, what's all that stuff? I didn't know all that. What if I have no one to help me? What if I get into a deal and I have no one to connect to, no one can help me, or someone is going to help me, but they're really not going to give me really true, honest advice? What if someone wants to check my credit, right? Because they want, hey, I'm buying my house. Great, let me run your credit to see if you're worthy to buy my house or want some sort of proof of funds. How do I do this if I'm a broker and I'm broke and have zero money, right? So maybe you're in a situation and saying, hey, how can I get involved in this and change, and I have no money for marketing or anything like that? How do I write contracts? How do you actually fill out these contracts? I'm scared, I don't know what to do. What if I don't have buyers? What if I have no time to make it work? What if I never find a deal? I remember I found my first deal. I made $11,008 in 3 weeks. After that, I was scared because like, what if I never find a deal again? What if I never? The second deal I did, I made $2,000 and I did everything wrong. Absolutely everything wrong, because I didn't have guidance. I didn't have any guidance. The course that I bought from this guy on the radio that started talking about it was a course on how to get a list and knock on people's doors to see if they would sell their house. That was what it was. That was the course. So I was like, okay, I'll go get a list of people that are behind on their mortgage and go, they haven't paid their mortgage and they're about to lose their house in foreclosure, and I'll go knock on their doors. How do I know what a good deal is? My first deal, I didn't know what a good deal was, right? The guy, he wanted $86,000. I said, okay, and I signed a contract for $86,000. I didn't know if it was a good deal or not, and when I signed the contract, I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't have out clauses or anything. Thank God I found a buyer. I would have had to buy the property myself, which I couldn't do, What if I just plain screw up the whole process? I had a lot of doubts. And I honestly, when you get into something new like this, it's nerve-wracking. There's a lot of different things. There's contracts and people and talking and houses, and every house is different. Every seller's different. Every market's different. Every deal's different. Every neighborhood's different. Is there crack foundation? Is there roof issues? Is there heating and cooling issues? Is there certain laws that you can and cannot do in states? How can you make this happen? So there's a lot of questions that come up, and I completely understand and can empathize with a new person getting started in the market today with all this information, all this fear inside. How can I get over it? Because I was the exact same way. So what the situation was, I felt lost with real no direction. I got this course. It told me to get a list and go knock on doors. That was the primary premise of the course. But I really had no direction, right? I didn't have really any money for marketing. I had a 580 credit score at the time. I never bought a house before. I had no confidence in myself. I doubted everything. I would sit at bed at night and I would just have all this junk go through my head. I was scared to death to sign a contract. I didn't know about that. I had no mentors to figure out what to do. And I just lie in bed and freak out. So what happened? I was so dissatisfied with where I was at 33 years old. I thought I'd be further along in life. I thought I'd have more in life. I thought I would do more and be more. Now I had a brand new baby daughter named Lexi. And I had my wife. I was selling pools in the heat. People were calling me because their bougainvillea would die, right? And they called me because something was wrong or this, that, and the other because it wasn't done right. And and I was getting screwed by this guy. And I was like, it was terrible. So what happened was I found myself in a situation. I went and knocked on that first door. And I literally, when I went to say something, the words didn't come out of my mouth. I was like, I couldn't get the words out. And I literally turned around from that house, the first house I ever knocked on. I turned around, I had my little clipboard, and I had my hand like this. I had my little clipboard, and I went and knocked on the door. I wanted to say, hi, Mr. Seller, can I help you before your house goes to auction on this date, right? And it didn't come out like that. It was like, now, I was 33. I was a prior U.S. Marine, went to war before. I was a grown man, and I go up to this house, and I can't say anything. Embarrassed. I literally turned flush. And I'm like, I turned around and hightailed it like a little puppy with his dog between its legs. It's his tail between its legs. And I go back to my car and I sat in my car and I'm like, how the adrenaline, I'm kind of shaking in my car because I'm so nerve-wracked. And I almost quit. I almost threw in the towel. I almost like, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't go knock on doors and try to, I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't even spit the words out. I'm terrible. I cannot do this. And I sat in the car and I'm like, started thinking, what if I don't do this? What if I don't find a way to do this? What if I can't? I've got to do something different. I was so excited about it. What? And does this be another thing that I get excited about and I get let down again? So what happened with me is in 2003, I bought this guy's course from the radio. I learned to knock on pre-foreclosure doors. And in that car, I made a decision. I made a decision to stop whining, stop feeling sorry for myself. And I made a decision that, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know everything. I'm gonna, because I don't want where I am. I don't like the path I'm going. I'm gonna figure this out. And once I kind of flipped the switch, and I kind of turned it, I went from feeling sorry for myself that I can't do it if I can't do it, to where, you know what, I'm like, I have to make this work. And it's amazing what happens when you put yourself in this situation, you have to make it work. Then the next door I knocked on, I just looked at, you know what, the next one, the next one, the next one. And I got better, and I got better, and I got better, and I got better. And I sucked, and I was terrible. You could probably do way better than me. I went, and I knocked on the door, and we don't even do that anymore. I mean, there's way better methods, better technology that you can do. So the bottom line is, I went and continued to do it, and I met that guy that said, sure, I need to sell my house. Can you help me out? And he stood me up for my appointment when I went back to meet him. I caught him on the way to work, and he stood me up, and I went back again, and guess what happened? He said, okay, I signed a contract. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know about the house, didn't know how to do repairs, didn't know about value, didn't know any of that. But he signed it, and I made $11,008, and that changed everything. And my mission now, I've been doing this for 17 years. That's 2003. 17 years, right? And I can tell you now, my whole life has completely changed. I have two now beautiful daughters. I've been married for 23 years to an amazing woman. She's definitely way better than me. I've been flipping houses now, wholesaling houses, what it's called, for 17 years. I've done over $300 million in transactional value of deals. We currently run an operation where we do deals all over the entire country. This deal will do over 30 deals this month. So I'm not the person where I teach, but I don't do. I'm in the business every single day. I'm talking to buyers, we're talking to sellers, we're doing deals, I'm signing contracts. 5 minutes before, or 10 minutes before I came on here, I was talking to one of our sales guys about a transaction we're having, a closing. I was talking to the title company, getting them on the phone for a closing that's happened on Monday or Tuesday. It's a $32,000 deal. So I'm in the business, operating a business. I know exactly the pulse of what's happening. I never wanted to be someone that taught and didn't do. I teach because I love to make an impact. I want to make an impact in people's lives, and that's why I love teaching, and that's why I'm here doing this, to make an impact in people's lives, because I know for a fact if I can cut through all the minutia, the noise out there, and you could follow me here just for a little bit more, and you could see what we have a part of this. It can change your life for the better. I guarantee it. It can change your life. If you follow and you do this, just like the people I'm about to show you. So I started a podcast in 2010, kind of documenting. Currently, we have 12 million listeners in 196 different countries. Created the Flip to Freedom Academy with over 9 best-selling courses from every aspect. We have in the membership site well over 20,000 members in our membership site, best-selling author, and own over $30 million, 760 units of student housing units across the country. So I take out and we invest in large multifamily properties. I have a house in Dana Point, California. We go there for, I've had it forever, and here in Phoenix, Arizona. And the most incredible thing is I get to participate in my kids' families, everything. I haven't missed, since I've been doing 17 years, I haven't missed any of my kids anything, which is great because I can prioritize my schedule around my kids and my family, and then everything else falls underneath, right? Business then falls underneath. I was doing that today. We got a new puppy, and his name's Oliver. It's a golden doodle, and guess what? Had to take it to the vet today to make sure he got all his shots and stuff like that. And it was a blast. My daughter came with it. It was fun taking a little dog. So it's cool to be able to do the things you want to do, but I didn't have to go check out with anybody. I didn't have to write a form for it. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. I just went, right? And that's the great thing about this business. Now, this was all done, no cash invested, no credit pulled, no experience needed, no contractors needed for fixing and flipping houses, no huge time commitment, no earnest money, no proof of funds, right? No funding. I didn't have to get funding for it. I didn't have to borrow money from family. I had to get bank loans, didn't have to do difficult paperwork, had to know real estate license, didn't have to deal with degrees or any of that type of stuff. No brick and mortar offices. You can have an office here if you want, or you can do it virtually. No equity deals. So here's an example deal we just completed in Santa Maria, California. Seller was divesting, meaning wanted to get rid of their properties. So we signed our contract, that contract that we have, the same, it's a 2-page contract, with a seller for $350,000. We found a buyer. He signed a contract for $370,000. We assigned that contract, and our profit was $19,150 on that deal. It all took roughly about, I think it was like 12 to 14 days to get this transaction closed. So that's all done over the phone, right? So essentially what happens, you could be in Canada, you could be in another country, right? You could do deals in the United States. It can be done virtually all over the phone anywhere in the world as long as you're doing deals in the United States. Now, this is a local deal. So this local deal, seller was moving, contract price for 116, sold price for 144, definitely needed work. We did a double escrow, meaning where the buyer wired in the funds for the property, and they gave the seller 116, they gave us 26,028, and then the buyer got a property at a discount price. So this one's on Coronado Road in Phoenix, Arizona recently, but another great deal. So we do 30 of these deals a month, all across in Phoenix, right? We got one closing next week in Phoenix. We had one close this past week in Phoenix, and we do deals all across the entire country, just like this. The ones across the country we do over the phone. The ones locally, we actually meet sellers in person, go look at the house, and make them an offer. So there's really nobody in the industry that teaches that quasi model of being flexible to do deals all across the country, do it virtually if you choose, from your house, doing deals over the phone. You can do it on a part-time basis, or actually meeting a seller in your local market. So at the end of this, I am actually going to give you my 2-page contract. That's the gift. That is the gift. I'm going to give you my 2-page contract, and it is going to be able that you can use this contract in any market across. It's the same contract I use all across the country to do deals and locally to do deals. So I'm going to give that, so make sure you stay on to the end. All right, so a little important disclaimer here. All incomes you'll hear about are real, verified. However, incomes depicted represent some of the most successful participants, and the majority of individuals earn less. These figures should not be considered guarantees, projections of your actual earnings or profits. It is understood that your success is predicated on your effort and requires hard work, desire, and diligence. It's just like anything. The bottom line is this, and I want you to give that disclaimer because I don't want any of these stories to influence you to do whatever. The bottom line is it takes hard work, it takes energy. I don't want it, there's no push button method that you can push a button. It is a business. All these people put time and energy and effort and worked hard to go out there and make it happen. So you have this one, Joseph. I'm actually in the Phoenix market. Incredible gentleman. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be exactly like Joseph. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get income like Joseph. The bottom line is Joseph turned around and took the principles that we're talking about here. He has been in my office right here, and he's went out, and it's amazing, his story. He's very shy, broken English in Phoenix, and he primarily met sellers through sending a tiny little postcard and putting up bandit signs. And he's doing $100,000 a month in revenue. Tyler White's, which you're going to learn about, he's our bug guy. He says, today's paycheck is equal to 2 years of income at my previous job. And to think less than 2 years ago, I was still slaving for those wages. $111,000. That's 2 years of income on one paycheck, right? Amazing. Now, think about if that was you. Now, I mean, obviously, Tyler worked hard. He put some time and energy and effort and stuff like that. But we're going to now get into what exactly these guys have done, and then you're going to be able to copy them and learn how to do it yourself. So let's get into Monica here. Monica's a great story. And what Monica did is she just wanted to supplement her income. She didn't really know anything about real estate. She never have done a real estate deal before, but she wanted to learn how to do it. And let's see exactly what she did. So what she did is implemented what's called phase 1. Now, the escape plan that we're talking about, there's 4 phases to freedom. Phase 1 is specifically focused on getting your first check of $10,000, right? What specifically do we have to do to get your first check of $10,000? Now, in phase 1, there's certain things you do. Now, what happens was what she did, Monica was looking to supplement her income, get her first deal. She didn't have a lot of time, wanted to do real estate, but had no money to invest, lived in a competitive market. She didn't want a get-rich-quick scheme. She just wanted something that she could do part-time around her family, around her kids, around her husband, what she could do. She was still a mom to go out and make that happen. Monica needs something proven. She didn't want to waste time and money on something that didn't work. No excuses. She had no excess money for marketing, tried everything, wasn't into the hype. She just wanted to look for a good business. So what happens is we showed her how to locate a distressed property. That's actually the key point, is having a distressed property, someone that wants to sell at a discount, someone that wants to sell a property, a $100,000 property for $50,000. You're wondering, who does that? Who sells a distressed seller, a distressed property? Now, there is circumstantial distress, like divorce in situations, divesting. They want to sell their properties because of age situation, health issues, cancer we bought properties for in situations like that. There is property where the physical condition of the property, where it's damaged, it's vacant, it's trashed by tenants, it's fire damage. Those are great deals. Or you can have a situation where there's financial distress, like properties in foreclosure. They haven't paid their property taxes. You know, some sort of maybe they have a transfer situation. They can't pay 2 mortgages. Those are all distress situations. So what we do is we specifically target, right, these circumstantial physical distress properties, and we do strategic marketing. And there's free methods and there's paid methods. Now, there's postcard marketing, there's text, where you can actually send out a text to a seller, and there's calling. So, and the goal is to surround your seller with a message where they get a postcard, then they get a text, then they might get a call, right? Those are all increasing your odds of being able to create a conversation, whether it be virtually or locally, with that seller, to where you can set an appointment, be able to analyze the deal, make an offer either locally or virtually. It's called omni-channel marketing. It increases revenue all the way across the board. So what happens is, with this business, it's understanding the numbers. And once Monica was able to understand the numbers, there was an expectation that was set on what to do. So what happened was, when we talked about part of the training and education and learning, she learned that 25 leads equals 1 deal. So if you get 25 leads and you're talking to 25 sellers, that will equate to 1 deal. So 24 will say, no, your offer's too low, I want retail, it doesn't work for me. 24 will say, no, I've got a friend, or I got another offer higher from another investor, or I'm gonna sell it, you know, somewhere else, or I'm just gonna hang on to it for a rental. So 24 out of 25 people are going to have other options that they want to move their property. And that 25th one in 25, that's how the numbers work out. 1 in 25 will say, sure, I'll accept your offer and move forward. So what happens is, people get in this business, and maybe you've been in the business for a while, you've been attempting to talk to sellers, and you go, well, I've talked to, you know, I don't know if this works. I'm trying it, it doesn't work. But the problem is, their expectations incorrect. And they go, well, how many people have you talked to? 6. Talked to 6 people. Well, they're not even in the numbers yet, right? And well, what happened with the 6? Well, every one of them want retail. Well, guess what? That's expected. So if you have that expectation going in, you know what to expect, and guess what? Now, I've had people, they've talked to 49 people, and 49 people said no, and the next 2, bam, they turn around and get contracts. I don't know why that is. The numbers kind of work out that way, but it's amazing. I've been doing this for 17 years. I've taught tens of thousands of people, and I can tell you the numbers, as when talking to people, works out that way. So what do we do? It's a numbers game. We have specific tracking metrics that you can follow and say, hey, listen, and you can follow your progress. This has been a game changer with people to say, hey, well, how many leads did you get this week? How many appointments did you make? How many offers did you make? How many contracts did you make? And it gives you a progress bar and a specific plan to follow. And then, because here's the thing, if you say, hey, I want to make X amount of dollars, $10,000 in your first month, well, guess what? We can reverse engineer that down to what happens over a 6-week period. If that's going to make $10,000 in 6 weeks, here's what we have to do over the 6 weeks. We have to make this many offers, talk to this many sellers. So then the question becomes, well, how do we generate those leads? This is my number one tool. It's called REI Automator. I'll take you in a little bit easier in a second. I'll just take it into you right now. So REI Automator is really cool. If I show you this right here, basically you can go into any market. Now I'm in Midland, Texas, a little area, but you can find vacant houses, liens, pre-foreclosures, auctions, bank-owned properties, cash buyers they show you, high equity properties, free and clear property, bankruptcy properties, divorce properties, tax delinquent properties, failed listing properties. You can just select one of these right here, put a couple criterias in right here, and be able to, and it'll populate all the properties. So if I want to get all the vacant houses, right, in Midland, Texas, we have actually having a deal there right now. Do you realize there's 1,000 houses right there in Midland that are vacant properties? Well, if I wanted to get a vacant property and I wanted to have it to where it had estimated equity percentage, and I was going to say, let's say minimum estimated equity, let's say 50% of the equity on a vacant house, there's 577 houses in the little town of Midland, which is south of Austin by Odessa, which is a hot little market. This area right here, there's 577 vacant properties with 50% minimum, 50% or more equity in that particular in that area. Huge. This is a great list. Now, you can do that for all these different things. So people are vacant properties. They essentially walked away from those properties, right? Now you could have it to where I'm going to do, these are tax delinquent properties. They haven't paid their property taxes. This is another phenomenal list. And we talk about the top list. There's 716 with 50% more or equity. This is an unbelievable tool. And this is just scratches the surface on what this can do for you. I don't want to do a full demo on exactly what, it's just one tool that we use. It enables you, allows you to skip trade, allows you to do so many different things within REI Automator. So what we do is we have this cheap little postcard right here, where it has an actual picture of the house on the front and says, hey, is this your house? We'd like to buy it. This gets about a 3 to 5% response rate nationally. In some of the smaller markets, even larger response. It's a great little postcard. Now, what we do is we send a postcard. Then what we can do is we pull that list out of REI Automator, we skip trace it, meaning it will add a phone number and an email address to this seller, and we can turn around and we can give them a call or we can send them a text. Now we have scripts and what to text and what works and what doesn't work. And there's a free service called Google Voice. There are other services out there you can use that are paid services, but I know people that use Google Voice. They type in the text, they type in the information, they go out and they get leads coming in. They're talking to sellers, and it goes right back to actually the numbers game, and it's amazing. It's cheap, it's free, it's easy to do. It's way better than I first got started knocking on pre-foreclosure doors. Now, there are free methods to be able to do this, and actually Monica used free methods to get started, and we show people how to get these for sale by owner sites like forsalebyowner.com, fsob.com, myowner.com, and we have specific scripts. You can call these sellers up and say, hey, I see you have a property for sale. I see you're trying to sell it by owner, and then either set an appointment to go look at the property, or if it's virtual, you can make an offer over the phone. We have a list of the top 15 sites that people are selling. Even Zillow has sellers on there selling properties by owner, and they want to sell their properties. But guess what? You might talk to 15 people, 25. Monica learned not only the exact websites to target, exactly what to say in a script format to a seller, how to determine motivation of a seller. Are they really motivated, or are they tire kicker wasting their time? Is there motivation there? And there's cues that you can listen to. How to determine the value of the property quickly. How do you really understand that, determine the value? And we go back to REI Automator. There's a simple button you can press and it'll give you values of the property. How to schedule an appointment and what to bring, right? When you're talking to a seller in your local market. How to negotiate with a seller and get the best price. So now you meet with a seller in your local market, if that's what you choose to do. You go meet with them. What do you say? How do you do it? How do you get the property under contract, right? How do you talk to them? How do you sound educated so you know what you're talking about? How to write the contract correctly so you know exactly how to fill this sucker out with the seller. So you have everything, all your T's crossed, your I's dotted, and how to open escrow, what to say, how to find someone that can close the transaction for you with those closing agents that we talked about, right? How to find highly responsive cash buyers quickly to close on your property. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later. I'll show you in the tool of how to use that, how to, on one click of a button, find all the buyers in a specific market and what to do with those. It's amazing. How to get paid fast. So this list right here, we show it specifically everything what to do step by step, and every tool needed in a basic kind of all laid out in a step-by-step format so it can be easily understood. So what did Monica do? She went out there, she got a property under contract from Free Methods. She turned around, she brought it to the closing agent, and Monica changed her life. She made $35,549 on 95 cents on her first deal. And here's what she said: finally, someone who covers all the details and is actually doing what he teaches. So I thought that was really interesting because I am incredibly detailed when it comes to the how-to specifics, and you have the full understanding of what our mission and our goal is, and then you have to really boil it down. There's so many people out there that give you a generalized knowledge. Generalized knowledge doesn't really do anything for you and I. It gives us a great idea, but how specifically do you do it? What list specifically works? What do you exactly target? How do you specifically, what text do you send? I give you the right text to send. I give you the scripts to say. I give you the whole entire thing in detail. And this is amazing. Now, Monica's working on phase 2 of her business, saving 1 year's worth of income and going full time. So here's a copy of her check, which is amazing. I just want to give Sean Terry a huge shout out. After completing Sean's course, I started sharing with friends and family. Hubby and I were buying houses. Shortly thereafter, family members shared that they knew someone that was just in a distressed situation. So she wasn't scared. Now she knew what to do. She got started. After overcoming some few hurdles, typically financial, we finally closed the deal last week. I want to give God the glory, which is awesome. And thanks again, Sean, for the information, and bless you and your students for your training. It's true life-changing. So $35,000, which is amazing. So let's hear from Monica what she has to say, a quick video of what she has to say.
This is Monica Williams here in Dallas, Texas. I purchased your course around the first of the year, was looking for a way to supplement my income, and purchased the course, and shortly thereafter started going through all of the modules and all of the training. We put the word out to family and friends that we were purchasing properties. We sent out text messages, we put out Facebook messages, we did the bandit signs, and we also have the car magnets. Shortly thereafter, we received a call from a friend who had a family member that was in a distressed situation. We went over and we met with them. It was two sisters. We met with them. We, took everything to the title company, found a buyer pretty fast once the title was cleared. And so the buyer offered us $52,000 for the property, and we accepted. And so we closed on it on August 10th, and we made $35,000 on this deal. I would say to anyone who is looking to are contemplating purchasing your course, they need to do it. They need to do it right away. Don't waste any time. It is for real. Out text messages. We put out Facebook messages.
So amazing story by Monica, which is amazing. I mean, I'd love to hear her story. It's so cool. All right, so let's talk about Christian. Christian, full-time fireman, $43,000 a year. Christian wanted to have a side hustle. He liked his job. And if you know anything about firemen, they have almost two jobs. They have a job where they go to the firemen, then they get off a couple days, and they always want to have a second side hustle. They can do something. So he got into real estate, and he's like, holy cow, let's do real estate. So what he did was he went through phase one, got his phase one part, got his first check. Then he wanted to get phase two, which was get enough money where he could quit his job and go full-time. Now, phase one is all about focusing on getting your first check at $10,000. How to do that? And that is the right marketing strategy, talking to the seller. Once you've accomplished phase one, then you can move to phase two. Phase two is all about now rinsing and repeating the process and then setting a strategic goal to get 1 year's worth of income in the bank. Now, for our example here, Christian made $43,000 a year. So his goal was to get $43,000 a year in the bank. See, he was a full-time fireman making $43,000 a year. He was looking to follow some sort of system that worked. So he wanted to, specifically, he wanted to use this to quit his job and go full-time. And he had to start part-time or working around his job. With extra time that he had, he worked around it and he did this business. So what we did is shared with him, which is the escape plan worksheet. It's this, how do you actually get 1 year's worth of income? What's the plan? How do you execute this? Well, first off, we got to figure income. So here's an example. This is what he did. He got $43,000 worth of income. That's what he makes. So average deal size. So the average deal size kind of varies. He was in Florida at the time. So we use $6,500 as an average deal size. Well, 6,500 divided by into 43 is basically about 6 and some change. We called it 7. 7 deals needed to quit his job. He needed 7 deals that he could do times 25 leads. That's leads needed, leads per deal. So that's leads in our number that we talked about in Monica's case. That's 175 leads needed. So 175 needs needed. And I said, okay, how many do you think you can get a month? Well, and he said, well, I can get 20, basically 20 leads, working around my job, not pushing it too hard. 20 leads a month, divided by 4, that's basically getting 5 leads. So he's going to essentially text some sellers and call some sellers and, and book appointments and stuff like that. And he wants to go out, I want to get 20 leads a month. It's not pushing him too hard. It's working around his job. It's something he can fathom and do. That's 5 leads a week, right? So essentially 20 divided by 175 is 8.5 months to quit his job, and that's essentially what he did. And he went out and he was able to get 1 year's worth of income in the bank. Now, why do I tell people in phase 2 to get 1 year's worth of income in the bank? The number one reason why is because, first off, you don't want to get your first check and just quit your job. And that's what I did, and I made a mistake. And I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. I got my first $11,008. Bam, I quit my job. I was done. So you don't want to do that. You want to go essentially get a 1 year's worth of income in the bank. And while you're doing that, you're establishing a cadence, a system you're starting to learn you're getting relationships with buyers, relationships with your closing agent, you're understanding the process, you're coming across different deals, you're understanding more of the marketing, you're feeling comfortable. It's just like driving a car. I recently taught my daughter here a while back on how to drive a car. Well, guess what? The first time she got in a car, she did terrible, man. She was overturning, she was jerking the car, it was like crazy. Now she's incredible and she can drive and she has her license. She's off to the races, right? Which no. So the bottom line is you want to be off to the races. You want to get up and going, but you want to have confidence doing it, and you don't want to put your family in harm's way. You don't want to be in a situation where you're having to close the deal to pay your mortgage and pay rent and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to do it strategically. So what happens is how we create this growth is we take our the house money, I guess you could say. So in Vegas, when you play cards, right, you start off with say $100 and you make $100, you take your $100 off the table. Now you're playing with the house money. Exactly the same way here. What happens is you're initially going to start, whether it be free methods or a postcard or texting or calling and time and energy, and you're going to get a deal. Let's call it, in this particular case, let's call it $4,500 in our example chart here. Well, $4,500, if we're going to reinvest 15% back in the market, so you're taking house money, reinvesting it back in the marketing, and the other $4,500, that goes into a bank per se, and that's going to be your savings to your 1 year's worth of income. Now you invest $675 in marketing. Now you can do some more postcards. Maybe you can make some more calls and text and do some more things. Maybe the more postcards you send, the more calls you can get coming in. So now you turn around and then you make a $12,000 check in that month, and you get maybe 2 deals of $6,000 a piece or whatever. And now you got $1,800 to invest into marketing. Well, that's a significant marketing bump. So now you can go from maybe sending 200 or 300 or 400 postcards to maybe 3,000 postcards, right? Because they're cheap postcards. Now you get more calls coming in. Then you can do some more stuff, and it increases. Now you get 14,000. You invest 2,100. Then you get $21,000 check. This is how it works. This is how the scaling works, by reinvesting 15% back into marketing, into your business. The rest of the money goes off into a savings account. Then you get 1 year's worth of income. Now you have the option to quit your job. Now you have the option. You don't have to, of course. You have the option, but wouldn't it be great to have the option to quit your job and go full time? Wouldn't it be amazing? Imagine taking that option and knowing you had 1 year's worth of income, knowing you had success doing deals. Wouldn't it be great to just go, I'm going to take the option. Your wife's comfortable with it, your family's comfortable with it, your husband's comfortable with it, and then you decide to go full time into the business, and that's phase 3. We'll talk about that here in a second. So what Christian did to find buyers, this is pretty interesting. So went into back into REI Automator here. So I'm in Midland, Texas. Let's clear these right here in Midland. And the cool thing is, what if I wanted to find all the best buyers in Midland? Well, I could go to flippers. These are people that bought properties. There's 77 of them in Midland, Texas. And this is all across the entire country this can be used. So you can use this to find sellers, and you can use it to find buyers, which is amazing. And now I can go into any of these right here. Let's say I go into this one, and I can turn around here. It can pull up the information about the property. Let it think here for a little bit. Midland, Texas. I can pull up, it gives you pictures about the property, which is, whatever. But now I could click on MLS details. I could scroll down, and look what it has right here. It has the name, Ron, right here, agent last name, of the agent that represented the buyer. And I could call this agent and say, hey, let me ask you a question. I see that you have a property that you represented over here, and you represented, well, this is Secretary House of Urban and Development, but would you have buyers in this particular area that are interested in buying properties? We sell a ton of properties in virtual markets and in local markets through agents in the specific area. Now, here's the other cool thing. If you look at this right here, see this little button that says Offer Automator? You can click that right there, and what it will do is it will start learning, and it will tell you what the after repair value is. It'll tell you what the value of the property is after fixed up, right? And you can go through and you can tell you what your offer is on your exit price, your sell price, your max allowable offer, your goal target. It'll give you offer numbers as you go through this right here. So which is really cool about this particular one. Now I picked one by Housing and Urban Development. Well, let me pick this one right here in Midland. If I was going to go in, and like I said, I go into MLS details. This one's owned by an investment firm. Look at this is an investment firm that bought it. They bought it cash, and now they're reselling it on the MLS. And this agent right here, if I go down here, This agent right here is basically, there's the agent phone number and there's the agent email. You can send me an email with the property information. Keller Williams is representing this investor. And do you think they'd want more properties if you find a property? It's the easiest, fastest way to turn around and find buyers in any market by just clicking one button, and you go in here and go flippers just like that. So, oops, I got my FaceTime on there. So you turn around and do that, right? And so now you turn around and here it is. That's how Christian found buyers. What he did is he found properties and he closed 7 deals using this concept that we're talking. He signed 7 contracts. He got 1 year's worth of income in the bank. He turned around and he went out and he turned around and he got deals. So imagine being Christian. He made $20,000 his first month, and now he's quit his job. He's went full time, and now he's not a fireman anymore, and he's actually doing deals, which is amazing. He's now in some months generating over 100,000. I'm going to say you're going to be like Christian. There's no guarantees you're going to be like Christian. All I'm saying is basically what he did, and he followed this system and had amazing success doing it. So let's hear from Christian.
My story with Sean. I was a firefighter here in the Orlando area back in 2008 when the financial crash happened. I needed to find a way to make money. I stumbled onto real estate. I had questions and I didn't know who to ask. So just by connecting with people and talking to different people, I realized I heard and everybody kept saying Sean Terry was the best. So I joined, went through it.
And now he's not a fireman anymore. And he's actually doing deals, which is amazing. He's now.
I'm Christian Marin. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about my story with Sean. I was a firefighter here in the Orlando area back in 2008 when the financial crash happened. I needed to find a way to make money. I stumbled onto real estate. I had questions and I didn't know who to ask. So just by connecting with people and talking to different people, I realized I heard and everybody kept saying Sean Terry was the best. So I joined, went through it, learned how to get my first check. I did that, sent out a direct mailers, and somebody called me and it worked. I made $20,000 on my first deal. And I learned how to run my numbers, how to read what marketing return I was getting. It helped me really grow my team to what it is now. I have 5 people, 2 acquisitions people, and 3 sales people, and we're doing great out here in Orlando. And there's an abundance of money out here, and there's no reason why we all can't be making money. So good luck, everybody.
All right, Christian is amazing. What a great story. Love hearing his story. And he's such a good dude, too. Met him in person before at one of our live events that we do. What an awesome, awesome story. He's a kid, man, doing incredible things. So now I want you to meet Tyler Weitz. Tyler Weitz is out of North Carolina. Tyler made less than $50,000 a year he basically went to people's house and sold, like Orkin, pest control. For people's houses. He called him the bug man. He was looking to quit his job fast. He wanted to get out of his job and be a full-time real estate investor. Wanted to spend more time. Actually, he didn't even know about anything about real estate investing. He didn't know anything about it, never did a deal before, never experienced any real estate. He just wanted to spend more time with his family. He just wanted to be he wanted to do something that he loved and something that he could spend more time with his family. Looking for a complete system that worked, that was proven. Looking for a mentor that was actually doing deals and not just teaching. So someone that was actually doing the business and not just out there going, hey, I used to do the business 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and they're really not doing it today in today's market and know exactly what's going on. So Tyler, essentially, now that his mission initially was to basically quit his job and go full time. So what happened is he went through phase 1, he got his first deal. He went through phase 2, he got 1 year's worth of income in the bank. He didn't want to put his family at risk. Then guess what? He got to that point, he quit his job and he went full time. Now the mission in phase 3 is to quit your job. So now you've got 1 year's worth of income. You take that option, you quit your job and you go full time. Now imagine that day for you. Imagine going in and say, here's my resignation. I'm done, right? What would that, imagine that. Now, and it's not a fearful like, I'm done, right? Now it's like, I'm done. And now you got 1 year's worth of income. You've got a business you've been cranking. It's been awesome. So this is phase 3. In phase 3, we talk now specifically, consistently now, you quit your job. Now you're full-time, consistently making a minimum of $10,000 every single month, consistently working for yourself, managing your own schedule. Remember, because imagine if you quit on Friday, Monday, you don't have to be at work. Right? Maybe you get your 2-week notice and you go there, you don't have to go to work and you're done. That day, when you wake up that morning and you don't have to be somewhere, there's no need to be somewhere, and you have to now manage your own schedule, it's an amazing thing. It's change, it's different. So here's the thing. He embraced the numbers game and he really took a hold of the numbers game. Like we talked about with Monica, 25 leads equals 1 deal. Really embraced that and wanted to really use the numbers to increase his revenue. So what he did, it's almost like this. It's like digging for gold. So how we looked at the whole numbers game, which I thought was really interesting, is that imagine if you found a gold mine. Let's say it's in the side of a hill. Here in Phoenix, we have these hills, like these dirt hills, and I could kind of see, and you're out hiking one morning and you trip across and you see this gold mine, this little crevice right there, and you kind of look at it and it's like, there's something sparkling in there. You kind of move it away with your hand, you find this little piece of gold. And then you go back and you say, listen, this is his gold mine. In this gold mine, you can pull as much gold as you want out of it, and you could turn around and you could make a fortune just off this gold mine. So the question be, would you show up with a spoon? Some people show up with a spoon. You can show up with a spoon and you can turn around. How much gold are you going to get showing up with a spoon? You're not going to get a lot. Now, what happens is that in this business, there's dirt and there's gold. And the reason why gold is valuable is because there's not a lot of it. And guess why? Dirt is no value because there's a ton of it. So in this business, dirt in the business is someone that essentially wants retail, someone that doesn't accept our offer, doesn't want to sell below market. Gold is someone that we can help out of their situation. They want to sell their property. They want to get out of the property. They're in a distressed situation. We want to help them out. And that is essential gold. So if we have a gold mine, we can show up with a spoon. We can show up with a shovel. We're going to move more dirt with a shovel to get to the gold. Or this is what I do and what Tyler did. He showed up with an earth mover, right? And I'm going to go up there. I'm going to go up with an earth mover. I'm going to move as much dirt as possible and turn around. The more dirt we move, the more leads you can generate, the more revenue you can basically get. So what happens is at the top of the funnel is leads, which are essentially contacts, people that are being put in the top of your business. Right now, remember, we're going phase 3. We're creating consistency in business. You might be already in the business right now and your income is up and down like this. And you're wondering why. Why is my income up and down? Well, it's lack of consistency, lack of leads. Leads to revenue correlates, meaning the more leads you have, the more revenue you have in your business, and it correlates directly together. So leads come in, goes to contacts, go to appointments, either over the phone or in person. Then it goes to an offer, then you got to sign contract, and it generates revenue. Now, having consistent leads, dumping into the top of the funnel by adding strategic marketing strategies. So now we talked about postcards. We talked about calling and texting sellers. What we can do is add other different channels of marketing, cost-effective marketing, that can put more leads in the top of the funnel, give us more ability to make appointments with seller, make offers, and get signed contracts. So what happens is there is Google AdWords. Now, I've been running Google AdWords now for the past, since 2006, so a while now. About 14 years, and pretty much mastered Google AdWords. And I first introduced Google AdWords to the real estate, this essential industry, kind of changed the way things were done. And we're continuing to change the way things are done in this particular marketing platform. But what it is this is how Google works. Google, you type in a word, "we buy houses." And at the top of the search result is that little thing you can see to the left that says ad. It will display the ads. So what you can do as an advertiser, you can bid on those keywords or have your ad show up when someone types in that keyword in your local market or national market, wherever you're at. So what happens is this is how Google makes money. It's interesting. I never knew how actually Google made their money. But what they do is they display advertising. Facebook displays advertising. All these platforms, Instagram displays advertising, right? TikTok will eventually display advertising. They actually do that right now. So these guys, they get tons of eyeballs, tons of traffic, and then we buy houses, and then they display their advertising. Now, the interesting thing is you can have your ad show up for that keyword in your local market, and when someone clicks on it, they can land on a simple one-page website. They can fill out their information or call you, like there's a phone number on here, and that will turn into a lead, and that's 24/7 leads, 24/7 leads, which is really, really cool. Now, that's what he did. He took 24/7 leads that came into his business, and it just crushed. So he stacked onto that. So this is a kind of a picture of leads coming into the business, into our business. These are email notifications of actually sellers basically turning around and submitting their information as a lead that came in on pay-per-click advertising. Thousands. I mean, I was just looking over the last 2.5 months. We've got over 2,800 and something leads. 2,800 leads in the last 2.5 months just from this one platform alone, not including all the other marketing channels that we do in my business right now that we do. In the last handful of years, I spent over $1.8 million on Google AdWords, and it is a complete viable source, I can tell you, is a great way to get leads. So here's the thing. What I also showed him is how to scale the business by focusing on 3 numbers. These are called key performance indicators. Key performance indicators are the levers to your business. There are 3 performance indicators in our business: is your average deal size, your leads per contract, and your cost per lead. Now we're getting a little technical. It's a little more business, but now we're moving into phase 3, where now we're getting consistency in our income in our business. Now we want to start managing it like a business. I never took a business course before. I got my education through mentors, through reading, through teaching and education, through hiring CFOs in my business and learning this thing. But he really dove into these numbers. He did a phenomenal job, actually better than me, really diving in and executing on those numbers and making those numbers better. Do you realize if you increase your average deal size, that increases profitability? If you decrease your cost per lead, you increase profitability. If you reduce your leads per contract, meaning your conversion rate, guess what? Your business only gets better. If you don't know your numbers, then you don't know how your business is doing. There are some people right now that you may have been in the business. You may have been doing some deals for a while. And if I asked you your 3 numbers, what's your cost per lead? What's your leads per contract? What's your average deal size? You couldn't answer that. I remember I talked to a guy who's been in the business for 11 or 12 years. And he was a one-man show, and he couldn't get out of that the rat race. He was just doing deals, but he didn't have a business. Meaning, if he left and went away for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he would come back and he would have no business. He'd have no income. I can leave for a month and I'll come back and I still have a business. I have income, revenue coming in, business coming in, because the business operates without me. It's a system and process in place. And it's all done and run by numbers. So anyways, so you got leads coming in. I taught him the missing link, how to dig for gold, right? And I showed him how to 10x his income using strategic marketing techniques and tweaking those numbers to increase your revenue. So Tyler's a great thing, and he's done tons and tons of contracts. Imagine being like Tyler. So imagine this is you. Imagine a handful of years ago, you're a bug guy making $50,000 a year, and then next thing you know, you trip across me on some sort of webinar or training or YouTube video or whatever, and then you say, I want to follow what this guy's doing. I want to implement and execute what this guy's doing. There's not many people that've been in the industry for 17 years. That's done over $300 million, thousands of transactions, still operate a business today, and then teaches detailed, specific things on exactly what to do. There's hardly any out there that I know that actually do it. There's people that pose that they do it, but they don't actually do it. So guess what? He gets to spend more time with his family, and his time freedom is close a deal. It's $42,000, $95,000, $10,000. That's just a week. Not bad. Here's another one that came in, $47,000. Another one that came in, $79,000. Another one that came in, $78,000. Another one that came in. And these are these are obviously just checks. Obviously, he's above average. He didn't, he's absolutely crushed it. I'm not saying you're going to get any income like this or anything like that, but it's just amazing results, which are just crazy. Here's another one, Sean Terry. When I stumbled across your book on Amazon 3.5 years ago, this was 2 years of income for me right now. It's just amazing what he's been able to accomplish. Look at that, $37,000, $75,000. It was 2 years worth of income, and this is an amazing story. So here's Tyler. Let's hear from him.
Hey everybody, this is Tyler Weitz with CityLink Real Estate Solutions and the CityLink Group out of the Raleigh-Durham market in North Carolina. Summer of 2012, I'm working as a salesman for Orkin Pest Control, and I decided that I'd like something a little bit different than what I'm doing career-wise. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about real estate in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. So it got me interested in it. Had never heard of wholesaling, didn't understand anything about wholesaling or what it is. I knew people flipped houses, but more so from a fix and flip angle. And I knew people owned rental properties, and that was about the extent of my real estate knowledge. So I was looking into different ways to make money in real estate while I was working full-time at Orkin, and I came across Sean's book on Amazon. He's got a free download on Amazon. So I thought, free, that's a pretty low price. I'll download it and read it. So I read it. Never heard, as I mentioned, I hadn't heard of wholesaling up to that point. So the concept that the book taught kind of went over my head a little bit. I read it and I thought, I'm not too sure what exactly he's talking about. So I almost deleted it off my phone. It was an ebook. I almost deleted it off my phone and moved on, but I felt like I should just read it one more time. It was an easy read. I think 40 pages or something. And I thought, well, why not? I'll just read it one more time. And the second time I read it, it hit me like that. I can do this, and I can be very good at this. So after thinking that over, I decided it was worth it to join. And I became a member, a student, and that set me off in the right direction and down the path to lead to where I'm at today. And what I will tell you is it was a tremendous value to me. I mean, it was absolutely tremendous value. I failed a lot in the beginning. It took me 6 months to do my first deal. It was the fifth house I had under contract. The first four had fallen through. But it gave me the direction. It gave me the confidence I needed to start taking those first steps. And was a tremendous value to me, to the point that now today we have multiple employees. We do new construction, we do fix and flips, we do rentals, we do wholesaling, we do some smaller development type deals. Haven't dabbled into commercial too much, but we're going to head there. Um, and a lot of the principles that I learned, I have applied to my company today, and it has allowed me to build what we have today as being one of the bigger, locally owned real estate investment companies in the Raleigh-Durham market. Just last month for July, we had 14 closings. The bulk of which were wholesales, but there's a little bit of some fix and flip type stuff mixed in there. We're poised for growth. We've grown it and staffed it to where we can experience very explosive growth in a very controlled and manageable manner, which is very important. But a lot of what I know and a lot of what I do, I still reflect back to my early days on the Flip to Freedom Academy and the things that I had learned at that point in time. Sean had also asked me to talk a little bit about my favorite marketing methods, and I really do a combination. I don't have one thing I can point at and say this is my primary source of deals, because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in ever putting myself in a box where my systems all rely on one thing, barring a few controllable things like Podio, for example. But my deals come from a combination of my online presence, which is very strong, direct mail to absentee owners, and bandit signs. And I keep it pretty steady between those three. 1 month, this one produces a little bit more. The next month, it's this one. But I really do all three on a pretty steady basis. I very, very, very much would recommend it. And I'm saying that as a consumer. I don't work for Sean. I don't get kickbacks of any sort. Just extremely grateful that I joined and I made that decision. It's changed my life. It's changed my life for my wife and my kids. My wife's able to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm able to have a very healthy income and provide jobs for people in my local market and help my customers, provide solutions for people in difficult real estate situations. So I love it. I'm extremely grateful I joined. I've got nothing but good things to say about it. And if that's something you're thinking about doing, I would tell you to do it.
Great story. Love Tyler's story. It's amazing. He's such a humble guy. Did have some amazing success, and he's out there crushing it with his bought a new house, new daughter, and actually daughter's older now, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, so meet Alex, full-time business owner. He's the one. He was running a business that needed a significant amount of cash to run. He was working all the time, 7 days a week, never had time to take family vacations. And the guy was just in his business all the time, never had time to get away from it. So he was skeptical. He purchased other courses from other people and he was let down. So he goes, what makes this different? Why is this different from any other webinar, course, training, guru out there that's self-proclaimed the whatever? And I hate the word guru because I'm just a guy that does deals and I love to teach. So he's done that and he was skeptical. He's like, I don't know. He didn't have time or money to waste on any, quote, BS program. That he said. So he didn't want to, spend time on something that didn't work. He wanted something that was proven that worked and made sense. He was looking for a system that was proven that he could turn around and implement because he didn't have time to waste. He actually, there was a situation why he needed to do it. He was 39 years old, full business owner. His mom and wife got sick and needed money and freedom. So he was in a tough situation and he needed to generate cash because he basically was a business owner. He had the freedom, but he wanted to generate cash. He was able to do 16 deals his first month out of the gate. This is for someone who is just like, they went full force ahead, and he was able to go out and make that happen. So Alex changed his whole business model and he went out there and crushed it. So what he did is he wanted to find something that it could be a successful business. He could scale it to millions of dollars in business, scale it to $100,000 a month, which is essentially over $1 million a year in revenue. So yeah, he's like, look past the first check. He didn't have to save 1 year's worth of income. He just wanted to go out there and crush it and go out there and scale it as fast as humanly possible. And that's what he was looking for. So in phase 4, in this phase right here, phase 4 specifically, we focus on building the business and to $100,000 a month in revenue, right? And I know some people right now are going, I can't even fathom that. I know the average American income right now is about $65,000 a year. So to fathom to make more in a month than someone makes in a year, I know that's crazy. But if you really think about it, if you have, say, $6,500 is an average deal size, and you are able to do 10 deals in a month, right? And that's 65,000 in a month, right? To basically do that. So I know I live in kind of a warped world when it comes to income and how things work, but that's how this business is. That's how it is. I mean, you can get a deal. I mean, we got a deal last week, right? And now we're closing it this week, and it's a $32,000 deal. $32,000 in less than 10 days from contract to close. A $32,000 deal. Now, that's just one deal we have, not including all the other deals we have going on, but that's just one. But two of those, and you got the average American income right there. If that's done. So I know this sounds crazy, and I know this goes, oh my gosh, it's but don't look at it like that. Look at it like, wow, what if you could operate a business that had the right people in the right places? And it's built around this model of traction, and it's one of the best business books I've ever read. It's by Gina Winkman. I highly recommend it. And essentially, we have built this wholesaling houses model around the traction methodology. And the traction methodology, you start with a vision of where you want to build and grow. And the vision could be, listen, I want to be able to spend more time with my family. I want to have an incredible lifestyle. I want to be able to take the time off I want and still have the business grow. And so let's just start with the vision. What they get paid, their salaries, their payroll, what their roles and responsibilities are. Then you have strategic meetings where you have meeting. We have a Monday morning meeting. It's a 90-minute meeting. It starts on time, ends on time. We have a specific criteria that we go through the meeting. And within those meetings, we have a scorecard. And a scorecard is all the KPIs and numbers we report on, meaning I can be on my Southern California. I have a house in Dana Point. I have a beach called the Strands in Dana Point. I can be sitting on the beach. I can pull up on my Google Drive my KPI spreadsheet, and I can know exactly where we stand in the business, how much annual revenue we have done so far, how much revenue for the week, what did we do last week, what are we expecting in income this week, how many deals have we closed, and so on and so forth, all the way through. And it's primarily done by this book, Traction, and I've morphed it. Now, Traction is for every business out there, and I've morphed it and developed it specifically for this industry. So we talk about strategic hiring for the right people in the right seats. Someone that's going to be able to answer the phone so you don't have to. Someone that can turn around and make offers over the phone so you don't have to. Someone that now can sell the properties to the buyers, find the buyers so you don't have to. Someone can handle the transaction coordination process to getting the property closed so you don't have to. So imagine having, marketing. We have a marketing person where the marketing goes out and leads come in so you don't have to. So imagine all the components of the business when it comes to generating leads, talking to sellers, making offers. All that was done by the right people in the right seats that love what they do. They get compensated incredibly well, primarily from the revenue of the business, and they turn around and it runs and operates your business so that it can turn around and grow. So you have the right people in the right seats, and they go out there and crush it. Then we have strategic meetings, meaning we have our meetings that we do, and we, like I said, we cover at specific times. We do a Monday morning meeting every Monday. We do that from a 90-minute meeting. Then we have monthly meetings. Then we have quarterly meetings. Then we have annual meetings. And we go out there and we get better and better and better. The biggest problem with the business is there's issues, but they never get solved. Here with the meetings, they actually get solved. Here's the scorecard, where now you have basically all the numbers in the scorecard, and each week we put all the information in the scorecard, how many deals we close, our pipeline revenue, JV pipeline, where the actual revenues come from, how many deals we closed for the month, how many leads we got for the week. You can tell your whole entire business by this scorecard. It's on a Google Drive, and you can pretty much manage this from anywhere in the world. So when I'm at my house in Southern California, I can zoom in to the meeting, and we can just go over the numbers, and it's accountability. It keeps people accountable. They know what they have to do, what they have to perform, and how to go out there and crush it. So once you do this, you have your business model set up. There's two sections. I'll go back here real quick to phase 4. Phase 4 is essentially two things. Number one is creating the business, strategically hiring, scaling the business by reinvesting 15% back in the marketing, and then also taking excess cash and putting it off into a savings account so you have the ability to invest in cash flow properties. So what does that mean? It means that a cash flow property is a property that pays you every single month, no matter what. That means people have to pay rent. So what we do here is I use Betterment, and Betterment basically stashes money out of account and puts it over here. So when an opportunity comes up for an investment property, and what I invest essentially in is large apartment complexes. I own 760 student housing units across the country, $30 million worth, that pays partners anywhere from it's $750,000 to $800,000 a year in passive cash flow for the partners and investors in these syndications. So an amazing thing is that you can do the same. You can do the same. So it could be a 12-unit apartment complex, right? And why would I pick a 12-unit apartment complex over a one house? Because one house, if it goes vacant, then you have 100% vacancy. One apartment goes vacant in a 12-unit apartment complex, they only have one, you have 11 others paying rent. And guess what? These will pay rent every single month. I do larger buildings like this because you can get them professionally managed by an operator that can operate these buildings, and they'll send you checks every month, and they'll also pay the investors every quarter. So it's a great way to be able to do it. So part of the escape plan is teaching strategically how to do this. It's a little bit more advanced, but as you're building your business, you can get into this. And I have strategic partners with people that we do syndications with. It'll show you how to do that, how to raise capital, how to do a private placement memorandum, how to turn around and find people that want to invest in projects like this, how to do it correctly, right? With having a 506C offering or a 506B offering, right? We don't do Reg A's, right? We do 506B or 506B. We don't do funds. So strategically, how to go out there and do that. But imagine this. Imagine now you say, oh, hey, wow, this is incredible. This escape plan thing is amazing. You get started, you get your first check in phase 1. Then you get 1 year's worth of income in phase 2. Then in phase 3, you decide to quit your job and go full time. And then you start building a business. You invest back into marketing. Your marketing budget gets bigger, and you have to hire people because you get so many leads coming in. You start hiring a team of people, and you're going, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if I could actually do this? And you learn how to do this. You progress up. You kind of mature up. It's like you don't start in 12th grade right out of the gate. You start in 1st grade, and the math gets harder and harder through the process, right? So this is like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. In freshman year, guess what? It's easier. It's a more, and then as you progress through the years, it gets a little bit more difficult and more hard. Same thing, not really difficult, but it becomes a little bit more advanced. Same exact thing here. But if you, as a freshman, you look at senior work, you go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can if you follow the progress. So let's say you've done that. You start off a freshman, phase 1, then you go phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Now you're at phase 4, you're operating a business, you've done a bunch of deals, you got some staff, and now the deal comes along, it's a 50-unit apartment complex. You go, I don't know how to do that. Well, guess what? We show you how to do that. And now you had 50 units. And what if it pays you $100,000 a year passive? Passive for you. $100,000 a year, $8,000 a month, passive income. Whether you do anything or not. What if you had 2 of those? What if you had 3 of those? You have $300,000 a year passive income. What would your life be like? That's what I'm talking about. This is the business. This is the escape plan. This is the reason why we do this. So imagine being like Alex. He did 16 deals his first month, 131 deals in 12 months, did over $1 million in revenue. And he followed the exact process step by step on exactly how to do it. So let's hear from Alex.
Back at the end of 2015, I was flipping houses. I had been flipping houses for years, and did about 5-6 houses a year, high-end houses, and did pretty good with it. But long story short, I was in a real good comfort zone and didn't have any major aspirations at that point. I didn't know anything about wholesaling. I did invest, but I was always buying from other wholesalers. So I bought Sean Terry's course, and I just literally did exactly what he said, verbatim. I was able to do about 16 deals my first month, and just didn't let the foot off the gas the entire year. I did 131 deals my first year wholesaling, and I don't want people to think that, holy crap, I can go out and do it. You can, because I did it, and I'm definitely not a sharp one. I just followed his system. I would tell anyone that's looking to buy this to just do it, go ahead and buy it, but also follow it verbatim. Don't change it. Just do it the way he teaches you, and you'll be amazed at what actually ends up happening. And God bless anyone out there that's trying to do this. No fear, baby. Just do it, and trust the system, and it will work.
All right, so amazing story, Alex. I mean, I love hearing these stories. It's funny, he's in our comments right now. He's probably watching. What's up, Alex? Super awesome guy. He actually sent me a jacket. So when it does get cold in Phoenix, actually wear it. It's great, but it doesn't get cold often here in Phoenix. So we're here for about a month out of the year. So Alex, again, thank you for that. Greatly appreciate it. So Alex, amazing. Christian, Monica, Tyler, what was the common thread and why these folks went out and became successful? What did they know that you didn't know? The only thing that they knew I didn't know, they tripped across the escape plan, they tripped across the flip to freedom plan, and they tripped across exactly how to do it. So the escape plan essentially is my best work. It's the entire thing from start to finish. Now, I had Flip to Freedom Academy for a while. Flip to Freedom Academy was essentially how to get your first check, right? It was just phase 1. And we had so many people that wanted phase 2 and wanted phase 3 and wanted phase 4 more in detail, that the escape plan was essentially birthed, where we could give someone that could get started, and they wanted to know what happened after the first check. How do you get 1 year's worth of income? How do you work around your job? So the escape plan is something that will give you absolute control of your future. It's easily accessible system that provides everything you need when you need it. So the cool thing is, you might be brand spanking new and you don't care about syndicating properties. You don't care about building cash flow. You don't care about, hiring people right now. You just want to get your first check working around your job. Well, guess what? There will be a time in your business after you get your first, your second, your third, your fourth check, you're going to ask the question, how do I create consistency? And then you're going to go back here, and guess what? It's everything you need when you need it. Then you're going to go back and say, oh, that's how you create consistency, by lead generation. You're going to add more lead generation. Then you're going to, wow, I'm getting a lot of leads. How do I do this where I'm not doing everything myself? And guess what? It's everything you need when you need it. You're going to turn around and you're going to say, wow, who's your first hire? What do you pay them? How do you structure it? Do you do just independent contractors, or you do actually where you hire people as W-2 employees. So you're learning all that entire process, which is cool. And it's everything where you need it here in the system. You know, what payroll service do you use? Do you have to, it's all that. So the question is, who is this for, right? It's, you can make, obviously someone that wants to make huge checks in record time, wants consistent paydays every single month, looking for a proven system to quit their 9 to 5, wants perfect mixture between mindset, motivation, and knowledge. Because here's the thing, we all know that if you don't have the mindset for this and you can get over own internal barriers of doubt, fear, then guess what? You can have all the how-to stuff, but it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. So you have to have the mental part of it, which is part of this entire thing, is understanding strategically and how to attract things that you want in your life and how to focus and turn problems into solutions. Now, a lot of people, I've worked years on my mental side of my life and business, and I try to take all the information over 17 years of screwing up, 17 years of the mistakes, 17 years of figuring out everything that didn't work, and be able to put it into something, the escape plan that you can follow, and you don't have to worry about 17 years. You can get the information in 7 weeks. So understand that it takes hard work and dedication. That's incredibly important, because I don't want you to think at all that you're just gonna get in and it's a push button system and they're gonna do it for me and this, that, and that's not the case. This is a business, it takes energy and effort just like anything, and I would hope you would run if I said that, right? And I know there's people watching right now. You guys are smarter than that. That's why you're here, and you get it. So who is this not for? This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I know we talked about, incomes that are pretty amazing from incredibly amazing people. Those aren't the average, right? And I don't want to give you average incomes. Most people don't do anything. I can tell you that right now. Most people don't do anything. They just do, they get a program, whatever, and they get a bunch of everyone else's program, and they sit there and they do absolutely nothing with it. And they make nothing, doing nothing with it. So it's for someone that actually really wants more out of their life, and they're willing to put forth the energy, effort to make it happen. And it's not some get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a done-for-you system, meaning we're not going to do all the work for you. We're going to show you specifically what to do, how to do it, right, in a detailed fashion, but it takes work. It takes energy and effort. Unethical, that wants to take advantage of people. We're not about taking advantage of distressed sellers. We're about helping distressed sellers out of situations. Like, we have distressed sellers in situations where their house is in shambles. It hasn't been updated in 30 years. It's a mess. And if they go to a realtor's going to say, you got to get this house cleaned up so I can show it. I've had so many sellers come to us and go, I don't have the wherewithal to clean it all up. I just need to sell this thing because I can't deal with it anymore. I don't want to deal with it. And that's where we can come in and help them with that situation. Not only do we help the seller out of the situation, they get paid, but we help the neighborhood because a buyer comes in, fixes it up, makes it great for a new family. They create the comps. Like, we just fixed a house in Central Phoenix right now. Literally, it's the best house on the block. It'll raise the whole entire value and inspire other people on that block to do incredible things with their houses. We had another house we did a property, and not this. This is that we actually did fix and flips on, not wholesaling, but fix and flip. Changed the whole neighborhood, right? Changed the whole dynamic of the neighborhood. This one house did, and it was the worst house on the block. Now it's the best house on the block. A whiner with no backbone and lacks persistence, right? Someone that's always whining, that's obviously it's not for that. So the escape plan, 4 phases of freedom, learn the precise plan to confidently get your first check, quit your 9 to 5, scale to a multi-million-dollar operation and beyond. A total immersion, interactive, hands-on, 7-week step-by-step masterclass. So I want to go into essentially, and I want to do as fast as possible, what is you get on this thing. But you get phase 1, we talk about getting your first check. Phase 2 is accumulating 1 year's worth of income. Phase 3 is how to transform from an employee to an entrepreneur and consistently do $10,000 a month, and then how to scale to $100,000 a month in passive income. That's a 1997 value. So if you can check it out at getescapeplan.com, getescapeplan.com. But let me take you into real quick here. So just in phase 1, we talk about the introduction. We also talk about, for people that maybe don't know anything about real estate, we talk about the concept more in detail, what that concept looks like, the actual contract, flipping the contract, what is an assignment, what is a double escrow, how does that work? We talk about even terminology in what is ARV, after repair value, EMD, earnest money. We talk about all the terminology, so now when we talk through the rest of the course, you have a full understanding. And the cool thing is about all these videos that within this course, you can watch them, you can download the audio version, you can put it on your phone and listen to it. That's how I learn, is through audio. And then if I go back and I want to read something or watch the video, that's what I'll do. You can download all the keynote slides for everything. That's all spelled out in the keynote slides. And we have checklists for each week. So, and it's held in a beautiful membership site platform that you can watch on your iPhone, or you can watch on a tablet, or you can watch on your computer. So now we go into actually getting your first check, the goal. And we start you off right into the most important thing, which is talking to sellers and getting deals done. We talk about omni-channel marketing. We take you into REI Automator, what list to pull. We talk about the tax delinquent list, why it's important, how to pull it. The high equity vacant list, which we talked about. The pre-foreclosure list, how to pull that list. Getting your phone to ring with motivated sellers, skip tracing, using Google Voice and calling and texting, the right postcard to use, the right text to use, the right script to use. We got the cold calling script, the texting script. We talk about for sale by owner methods, using Zillow. Then we talk about goal attraction to basically bring that check toward you. Exactly how to understand the process of preparing for your success. The problem is people actually attempt to do things, but they don't prepare for their success. Right? You know, in the Bible, and I think it's in 2 Kings, it talks about where, they wanted rain. So they were told to dig ditches before the rain was even visible. Why would you do that? You're preparing prior to the event happening, right? You're preparing for your success. So you want to dig your ditches, and there's ways to do it. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, week number 2, we talk about phase 1 continued. Now we're going to talk about how to get the most out of life. We're going to talk about talking to sellers over the phone versus local and virtual. We're going to talk about in your local market, booking an appointment, lead sheet, analyzing a deal, REI Automator, how to check comps, how to understand comps, how to verify comparable comps or comparable sales, meeting the seller, preparing your file, what to say, how to do it, the contracts, the letter of authorization, the comps in there, the repair sheet, the lead sheet, exactly how to use all that. Understanding pre-appointment intelligence, making a logical offer to a seller, how specifically to get the contract signed with a seller, getting your first deal done, boom, you did it. And then you have a checklist on specifically what to do. Week number 3, remember, this is 7 weeks, and I'm not going to go through everything, but I'm just talking through here. But we're going to talk about specifically how to find buyers, what to say to buyers, how to get them to jump to buy your deal, how exactly to go into REI Automator, pull those buyers out, how to talk to the top agents, cash buyers, talking about getting a deal closed with zero funding, how to talk to the right closing agent, right? And how to get that deal closed. What to expect on closing day. Does everyone show up? How does the money flow? How does the whole thing work? Congratulations, you closed your first deal. So after that, you'll have your first deal done following the process from start to finish. Then in week 4, we get into accumulating 1 year's worth of income. We talk about goal setting, how to get that $65,000 in the bank as fast as humanly possible. Setting up your LLC, setting up your betterment for savings, reinvesting back into marketing, what that looks like. Introducing now pay-per-click advertising with Google. We show you how to deploy your first website. We show you how to set up your Google AdWords campaign. We talk about lead management. We talk about managing and working around your job. Then week number 5, quitting your job and going full-time. What does that look like? Right? And we talk about in this process, the virtual wholesaling process, the 4-step over the phone closing process, locating and closing companies, finding virtual buyers, closing the deal, picking small markets, doing deals, expanding your marketing as your income grows. So not only how to do it locally, but in phase 5, quitting your job and expanding into markets. So now you have virtual markets going, you have local markets going, and you're going out there scaling and crushing it, which is going to increase your deals in your business. Then we go into week 6. It's scaling to $100,000 a month, right? How to build a huge responsive buyers list, $100,000 a month super team. How do you hire them? How do you pay them? Understanding that process of a hiring funnel, right? Best payroll company to use. We get into week 7, training your team for success, updated scorecards and how that works, understanding your each line in the KPI. We're talking about weekly meetings, quarterly meetings, annual meetings, building your cash flow, understanding apartment syndication, analyzing a deal, underwriting a deal, the resources, more information, and beyond. So that is the 7-week. And it's literally the most in-depth. It's when you need it, and it's the only thing you will need in this business. It's the only educational course, and the most amazing thing is it is updated constantly. It's updated constantly. ARIA Automator is their $897 license fee. We're gonna waive that for someone that signs up for the escape plan. And then it's $97 a month for the data after your first month free. So you get your first month access. After that, it's $97 a month for 10,000 records. And that's how you get your data. That's how you get your records. And it's the cheapest in the marketplace with the most up-to-date data. And then I get on support calls, or basically live coaching calls every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we get on there, it's limited spots. Every 2 weeks I get on there, I've been doing it forever. Custom covert intuitive presentation. This is an iPad presentation you use inside the house with the seller. You can literally swipe through and show them, and it'll take them through the process of making an offer, which is great. Deal or no deal, you can get on a call, a Zoom call, and we'll analyze deals with you on the Zoom call, which is amazing. Then you get all my priced forms, scripts. They're completely updated to use in the business. So you get the Escape Plan 1997, REI Automator, updated training, which is constant, bi-weekly Deal or No Deal, bi-weekly coaching calls, custom covert presentation, all the company's forms, $6,385 value out of the gate. Plus, this is amazing, bonus number 6, access to the members-only Facebook community. Members-only Facebook community, $997 for that, and that's where Tyler's in there, Alex is in there, I'm in there, everybody's in there, which is great. There's over 6,804 members and more, and growing members in the place right there. So here is Monica, $35,000 check. Christian, $98,900, 5 closings. Joseph, $100,000. Andre, there's a check, $3,500 check from Andre, which is great. Marcus, $5,364, another great check. So this is the escape plan. All you got to do is getescapeplan.com, getescapeplan.com, or click the button below if you're on the escape plan site. If you're on YouTube right now and you're watching, go to getescapeplan.com. Maybe Chris can put a link in the comments. Total value $7,382. So it's not $29.97, $19.97, it's $13.97, or 3 pay of $487, $13.97, or 3 pay of $487. This is the most comprehensive course that I've ever put together. And if you're not absolutely think it will blow you away with the detailed, specific content, everything you need, what you need it, when you need it, then request a 30-day money-back guarantee, and I have no harm, no foul to refund that. Now, as an extra additional bonus, we do the Extreme Freedom event. It's our annual live event we do every single year. And this event, last event, we had over 400 plus people there. It was absolutely amazing. You get 2 of the general admission tickets. We have a limited amount of them for the people, but you can sign up for Extreme, get these, and we'll throw in right now for this particular offering, we're having 2 of the general admission tickets. Now, you go to escapeplan.com, getescapeplan.com. You get all this, $13.97 or 3 pay of $4.87. Plus, if you want, you can use PayPal credit. What the heck is PayPal credit? PayPal credit is where they will fund you for the purchase of this product. Essentially, they offer you credit to purchase the product. Now, we've had several people that signed up. They've used PayPal credit. They got their first deals, and then they turn around and they paid back PayPal credit, and they kept the profit, kept the cash as profit. So remember, no experience needed, no credit check ever, no funding to purchase real estate, no funding for renovations, no contracts needed, no real estate license needed, no need to meet sellers face-to-face if you don't want to, no need to look at properties, no technical computer skills needed. Any of the software used are fairly easy. No need traditional brick and mortar office. Can be done on a full-time or part-time basis. Profit can come very quickly. Business can be done from anywhere in the world. Business can be successfully in up or down markets. Doesn't matter if it's a recession, doesn't matter if it's a booming, you can still do incredible. Reduce the risk of failure by paying for speed. That means take 17 years of what I learned what not to do and only learned what to do, and I put it in the course so you can pay for speed. Business can be scaled to an unlimited income. Business can be started with minimal capital. So go to getescapeplan.com, getescapeplan.com right now, and you can get started. And here is the special gift in to get it. So let's take you there. Now I'm going to go to getescapeplan.com. So if you go to Get Escape Plan, you're going to land here. And what you can do is you can see a list kind of everything you get, first name, last name, billing, right? And to get the PayPal credit, go to PayPal. And when you go and you put your information in here and you click here, right? Or you do here, what will happen, I think it's only on this, you can do the PayPal credit, I'm not sure. But you click here and what it will do is it will open up, and at the very bottom will say apply for PayPal credit. You can do that, right? So you can pick either a one-time, you can pick 3 easy payments, $487, and you can get access to the escape plan with the support calls, coaching car archives, Facebook group, all that type of stuff. If you have any questions, you can call us tomorrow right there, and then you can do that. So this will be able to get you access. You'll get instant access to the membership site right there, and you can get up and going and have access to the training, and we'll get up and going here. So this is where you get the contract. You can click right here to get the contract. Click right there to get the EB contract. You can download that right now, and you can have access to it. So if you have any questions, will this work where I live? Absolutely, it'll work where you live. Do you have to be an expert in business? No. I can't afford this. Is there anything else that can work for me? You can do the right here. You can do the multi-pay if you want to do that. Can I trust Sean? Hopefully you can. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Yes, there's a money-back guarantee. And when will I get access to the product? You'll get access to the product right away. You'll get your login information. You'll have access to the product. Now, the cool thing is, right now we're in the middle of filming week 5, 6, and 7 right now. So tomorrow we're filming week number 5, which you can have. You can join us in week number 5. And then, is that week number 5 is right next week? So week number 5, then we got week number 6 is next week, and then the final week, week number 7. Now, all of the information, week 1 through 4, is currently in the membership site with all the training, all the information, all the checklist, all the everything is in there that you can have access to. So, here it comes down to the question, right? The question is, and you're at essentially the fork in the road. And I was going to use the, where's the whiteboard? The fork in the road. So you're at the fork in the road, right? And now there's decision time, and you go, okay, listen, should I pull the trigger? Should I start with the escape plan? Should I do this or not, right? You've seen other things before. Maybe you should do it. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? So you're at the fork in the road. It's decision time. Now, I was at that fork in the road too. When I was driving down the freeway, I heard this guy on the radio. And remember I told you it was like God's intervention. I thank God I actually purchased his course. I didn't have the money at the time, but I actually used I had two Capital One credit cards. One was my wife, one was mine, and I gave it to him, and he put him on two different cards, and I bought the course. Now, interestingly enough, it was 2003. The course was filmed in 1992. This is a completely fresh, up-to-date course of everything that is needed and used to go out and crush this business. So what happened is you're at a point in the road right now, fork in the road. And either we have a decision based on fear and based on faith, right? Fear and faith. Now, that's kind of weird. Maybe you've heard that or maybe you haven't heard that before. But what happens is if you go down the escape plan path, the new path, the fresh path, the different path, it might be uncomfortable. It might be different. You might never have tried this before, or you may have tried other things before and they haven't worked, but you're going to try the new path, right? Or you're going to try the same path. You're going to continue to do the same thing. You're going to get the same results. And if you want to know where you're going to be 2 or 3 years from now, look back where you were 2 or 3 years ago. If you're driving the same car, having the same issues, having the same problems, having the same situations, if you continue to do what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always got. So what happens is we come to a decision point, and you might have been in a situation, you might be praying going, please help me with this, right? God just doesn't rain down money to solve our problems. God gives us opportunities. And what happens, we're sitting there, now you're at the decision point, and the problem is we either have this heart beating, and we're like, I don't know, maybe I should do it, and I don't know, maybe I don't really have the money, maybe we could do it. Bam, and we make a decision to do it. You're gonna get in there and go, oh my gosh, thank God, this is the best decision I ever made, because your life's gonna change. Now it's gonna be hard work. You're gonna have to put forth the energy and effort, but this works. Or you have the choice and you go down this path and you continue to do what you've always done. And if you're happy with that, great. But you would not be here for all this time with me now if you didn't want more out of your life. So you're in that situation. Here's the cool thing. If you go the new path, the fresh path, the escape plan path, you go down this path with me, what's the guarantee? The guarantee is, listen, if I'm full of it, if you don't absolutely love it and realize that it can change your life, then you have an absolute guarantee that you can get your money back and you lose nothing. There's no damage, nothing. But what's the guarantee over here on this path? There is no guarantee. The guarantee is you're going to continue to get what you've always got. Right? That's scary. That is scary. I don't want that guarantee because, bam, where's that going to lead you 3 years from now? 17 years from now. 17 years ago, I made a decision, and I think I can't even imagine where I'd be today. So I look at it right now, and I'm like, it's decision time. It's time to make a decision for you, your family, your life, and you might be at the end of your rope and might say, you know what, I am done being average. I want to escape. I deserve to escape. I need to escape. Then this is your plan. This is the escape plan. This is where you can get out of this and you can implement it and make it happen. So what I'd like you to do is, if you have any questions, go to getescapeplan.com, getescapeplan.com, right here, getescapeplan.com, getescapeplan.com. Go there right now. And then you can get signed up. You can determine, do I want to do a single pay? Do I want to do a multi-pay? And you can get started on your path to freedom, following the 4 phases of freedom. Everything you need when you need it. So, you have any questions, Chris? Yeah, and absolutely. And the cool thing is you, as you learn this business, right? You're going to learn the process of talk. They'll basically work with you for 60 to 90 days, right? So in the process right now, I'm hiring a disposition manager that's going to manage our dispo department. As I bring him on, I'll work close with him for about 60 to 90 days, closer on the first 30 days, and then a little bit further back on the 60 days, but I'll be there to answer all the questions. And then 90 days, I'll give him a little bit more freedom. But each position we do in phase 1 and 2 and 3. And then as we hire in phase 4, we're gonna know how to answer the phone and talk to sellers, how to make offers, how to sell We're gonna know all of that. So when we hire someone for that position, we're gonna know how to operate it, right? So now what we do is just have a strategic plan in hiring where you can hire someone, spend 60 to 90 days with them, but you have to find the right person. It's critical to find the right person. I hire really slow, right? And then I fire fast. So we're gonna make sure we hire right, get the right person in, and that's for your culture, for your team that you're building, and then you can spend some time with them, and then they'll be great in your business.
Will this work for virtual wholesaling, both to get your first check and the entire process of building the company?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, our model, we do local, we do virtual. I suggest you do both. I suggest you have a local presence and you have a virtual presence because you'll find deals locally. Why? I mean, you got deals right in your backyard that you could make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on and you could flip. Why wouldn't you do it local? So I would do it virtually and do it local. We teach both. We teach how to do this business specifically virtually and specifically locally when it comes to marketing strategically, locally and virtually as well.
How is this different from Down Market Profits or Flip to Freedom Academy again?
Down Market Profits specifically or Flip to Freedom Academy stops at phase 1. So stops at phase 1, and obviously this is completely, obviously updated, but it basically stops at phase 1. So phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 of the business is not even in Flip to Freedom Academy or Down Market Profits. Down Market Profits and Flip to Freedom Academy teach you how to get your first check and nothing beyond, right? And we typically had other courses for that. We'd have 100K wholesaler that was more advanced, but we never filled the gap between how to now make it consistent and quit your job. Then what happens when you quit your job and now you're a solopreneur and how to get 2 or 3 deals a month and how to start hiring people. There was this whole gap in the middle of this market that we were missing. We had brand new people getting started getting checks, but we had all these middle people that were doing 1 or 2 deals that didn't know how to do, and then we had people that were just scaling, right? So what the escape plan does, it puts it in the 4 phases of freedom where someone can come in and they can progress through the phases and grow.
How long will the offer be available?
Good question. Until we pack up our coaching calls and they get too busy. We haven't put a time on it. Probably a couple days.
That's it.
Okay, cool. Cool. Remember, go at the bottom here of the escape plan and you can download your contract right there. You can do that. Go to escapeplan.com and we'll rock and roll. All right, guys. Thank you so much for participating. I greatly appreciate it. Have an awesome Thursday, rest of your night, and for all the people, Escape Plan. Tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon for week number 5. We're getting to some cool stuff, and next week is week number 6. So thank you guys for participating. Have an amazing night, and God bless.